Greetings, YouTube, on this very busy Sunday, surprisingly busy Sunday of Marvel Contest of Champions news. And this video just wanted to do a short discussion over something that has been sent to me and that really we have seen a ongoing, really evolving discussion of in the last 48 hours, and that is to what extent Cull Obsidian is broken. Now, for those of you who don't know, maybe you just missed it, keep in mind Cull Obsidian is a champion that a lot of people still don't have at least a 5 or 6 star version of, but certainly, of course, the bigger the star, the more damage the output of the champion. And so there have been videos floating around Reddit, Line App, YouTube, etc. of Cull beating down Realm of Legends opponents in like 5 hits, right? Labyrinth of Legends also even making into a pretty short cakewalk in some cases, which is amazing. It reminds me, somebody told me that they hadn't seen this kind of damage output since pre-patch 12.0 Thor. And so for those of you who join Marvel Contest of Champions and have no idea what patch 12.0 is because you joined after, this is kind of just a window into seeing what a 4-star Thor used to do, especially Awakened High Sig. But anyhow, so I got word of this, and so I made a video about how Cull was no longer broken, but I made sure to kind of disguise my wording because this, in my book, was a pro player move that if some users actually took advantage of it and they had Cull as a 5 or 6 star, they might be able to clear some content that they weren't able to clear before. And if that was true and they could save some units and some revives and potions, etc., I didn't want to grab my pitchfork and say, hey, don't allow them to do it, because you always have a segment of the community that is trying to close pro player loopholes. This is why people snitched quite often whenever there's a spam refresh of a level 1 revive, for example, in certain paths of, say, Act 5, which we saw months ago, and then, of course, people actually claimed it. But there was also a understandable fear among some people with Cull that they didn't want to try to clear content, because we have seen in the past, if Kabam thinks you are exploiting something that is their fault, they will punish the player, and that could be a temporary ban or even the fear of a permanent ban. I don't know if that is really relevant for this discussion, but with Kabam, you just never know. The frustrating thing for me is that clearly Kabam didn't test this properly, and boy, if I had $1 for every time I said that in my 2.5 years of MCOC YouTube, I would have enough money to at least probably pay my rent for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. But anyhow, they didn't really understand the purpose or the full output until you saw people filing help tickets, and I was sent links of people on Reddit saying, I don't have Cull and this is BS, rawr. So yes, Kabam acknowledged today, we can confirm that at the moment Cull is outputting way more damage than we had intended, and that this way, this was way more than he was ever intended to do. We are working on a fix for him and hoping to have it out ASAP. So what I'm really curious about is, for those of you who have Cull, and really you are the beta testers of every time it gets fixed, because we had him fixed and then he was too fixed and now he's fixed again. So they've just been tweaking this champion so much since the new patch came out at the beginning of July. But the question is, do you remember how powerful Cull was when he was quote-unquote fixed? And can you tell the community after this fix that he's actually working quote-unquote as intended, to borrow Kabam's favorite phrase? Because what you don't want to have happen, and this is the fear, is that he goes from being way too less powerful to way too powerful to still back to less powerful than intended. Because let's be real, this champion is amazing enough that so many people spent so much to get him in the arena, or especially featured Cavalier crystals, or even uncollected featured crystals. So to have people go for that, and now we're talking about featured 5 and featured 6-star crystals, for people to go for a champion and then that champion not to perform in a way that they thought they were going to get when they went for that champion, it's really deflating for the morale and for the pocketbook of that summoner. And so we have seen that before. So really, this is like the 3rd time we've seen Cull tweaked in a month, which is crazy. I can't think of a scenario where a champion has been so tweaked so fast. So really, my takeaway is Cull is about to be tweaked again, fixed again, whatever you want to call it again, and it is up to the people who have Cull, especially at a 5 and 6 star, who used him regularly in, say, June, to get back to me and several others about whether or not they feel like Cull is working as intended, or if this quote-unquote fix is once again a quote-unquote silent nerf, and I should stop saying the words quote-unquote because I've been saying them a lot in this video, silent nerf for him. So it's really weird. It's a weird issue. We thought it was fixed, but then obviously it wasn't, and now it's going to be fixed again. It's a whole discussion. But here's my final advice before I end this video: don't go for Cull as a 5 or 6 star until we know for a fact that he's back to working as normal, because you don't want to throw a bunch of extra shards at a champion that, even if you land them, they're not the champion you thought you were getting. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and let me know your thoughts on this ever-evolving story. Take care, YouTube. Happy Sunday.